Welcome.
Sure. Thanks for having me. I'm looking forward to
So for everybody else who's joined us at the moment, my name is Joan Jim Diokolo, and I'm editor-in-chief at CapeTownMagazine.com. I think I'll repeat that every now and then and repeat who you are as people keep on joining the conversation. And we're going to be talking parenting hacks, which is why I've pinned it at the bottom so people know what we're talking about. And yeah, we'll be talking about parenting hacks and parenting during lockdown with a kids life coach, which is Monique Engelbrecht. And I think for the purposes of this conversation, I should say, like, I'm also an expert because I'm a parent of a 3-year-old, of a toddler. In fact, my toddler, his name is Maru, who's actually preparing for bed right now because he sleeps between 7:30 and 8, is turning 3 under lockdown. So he's turning 3 on Saturday, which is both kind of strange, but also, you know, there's less of kind of like that fussing of planning parties and stuff like that. So I have quite a few questions myself. And it touches a little bit just that on the conversation we're having right now, which is lockdown has been hard for everybody, like hard for everybody. And the struggle is real for parents. You can see from the memes, from the conversations. I saw a little video on Facebook, I think, of I think it said, this is what will happen when schools open, and you've got literally like parents who are dropping off their car and throwing them out of the car, because suddenly, you know, for a lot of people, you now have your kids. I mean, my toddler goes to crash during the day while I work. You have your kids 24/7. You're also working. If you had help, you're cleaning your own house, you're cooking a lot of meals. And I think it's had quite a lot of consequences. And of course, there's all this anxiety and fear around what's happening and all this uncertainty while you're parenting. So before I let you introduce yourself, I just want to say that we're doing this as parenting hacks because CapeTownMagazine.com, in its focus and coverage when it comes to the impact of COVID-19 and the lockdown on our readers and other businesses, we want to focus on really constructive and on really practical, usable tips so that people can come out of this conversation, parents can come out of this conversation feeling that they, you know, they're equipped, that there's things that they can use right now, there's things that they can use tomorrow. So hence we're talking to a kids life coach. And interesting because you have a psychology background, but you focus your time on empowering kids. So I think, Monique, maybe you can tell everybody about what you do.
Yes, so as a kids life coach, at the heart of what I do is the very simple idea of coaching children with a practical toolkit to handle the successes and the challenges of life. So I work one-on-one with the kids, and we work through whatever it is they need at that point in time. So we look at things of how to handle anxiety, how to handle the stress, confidence, resilience, their mental well-being is what I focus on during my sessions with the children. So yes, that is what I do as a kids life coach, empowering kids with practical tools to get through life.
Fantastic. And I think that is interesting, right? Because in a situation like this, especially when there's a lot of anxiety and big world things to deal with, often you have like forgotten people, which are the kids. And because you don't know how to read them, especially if they're young and they're toddlers. But what I want to say to everybody is if you've got kids with you, this Monique works with kids who are between the ages of 5 and 18. So this might not be an appropriate conversation for a 5-year-old or a 6-year-old, but I think if you've got a child that's older than that, then bring them along because this is what Monique actually works with kids. And please, as well, this is meant to be a conversation for Cape Town Magazine readers and businesses and followers. So please leave your questions below. Uno, who works with us at CapeTownMagazine.com has joined the conversation. She's going to pick up whatever questions that you might have on your end and essentially, yeah, Slack them to me. I'm sure everybody knows about Slack now. And if there's anything specific, then we'll have a conversation around that. So maybe this is a conversation for 30 minutes or an hour, we'll see. So maybe let me start here. That we put a question on Facebook today and ask, basically, we're asking parents, of course, do you have kids? How old are they? And what has been your biggest struggles? And don't be afraid to share. And there were lots of comments that came through. And I think by and large, there was a lot of comments around capacity, just like as a parent, or I don't have capacity to make sure that I take care of my kids while doing everything that needs to be done in the house, and then having something else. When you couple that with being a working parent, it's tough. Jackie Park, for example, who has a daughter who's 3 and a 6-month-old, and saying that she's just struggling to give them both all attention. How do you get around this? What can a parent take from you that would work?
So that has been a big question from parents, is how do I also give attention to kids, keep them busy, but I still have my things to do. I've still got work. It's not like parents don't have their work anymore. They're on this holiday. Mm-hmm. So the big thing is to focus on a routine. Get a routine in place. There's no reason that the routine in the household has to be completely different. Yes, we do have to adjust. We've got to change things up a little bit. But the kids should still get up at the time that they would get up for school. Start school as they would for their normal, first class at school itself. You could have a family routine, main routine that you draw up together with the kids, depending on their age, of course, and say, all right, you know what, this time is for breakfast. Then we're going to have working time. Then we're going to have lunch. Then we have a break. Let them also see when can they also approach you, so they know, okay, hang on, it's working time. So mom's going to be working, dad's going to be working, and so am I. And after that, when it's a break, then I can approach mom with any questions or whatever it is they need. And a lot of, I think what's happening a lot is kids coming to mom and dad and saying, I'm bored, that help, what do I do, So a very helpful tool is actually to celebrate that boredom. Instead of turning around and saying, oh, okay, let's think of something. Meanwhile, you like getting ready for a meeting, say to them, great, I'm so happy for you. I wish I could be bored, but I don't have a choice. I'm stuck to do this work. And lucky you get to choose what you want to do now to help with that boredom. So celebrate it and let them really make the choice. So you could create a boredom, I think they call it boredom bust jar.
A boredom bust what? Sorry, I didn't hear that.
A boredom bust jar. Boredom bust
jar. Cool.
Something like that. So once a week, you can get together as a family and then write down on little pieces of paper ideas for kids to do. So obviously you want to keep this more where they don't require so much of your supervision, so that when they do come to you and say, I'm bored, you can say, first of all, look at the routine. Right now we're still in work mode or in the working slot. So, but good for you. Go and make that choice now of what to do. Go to the jar, take your pick and go enjoy yourself. Go keep yourself busy. But of course, this differs with age. You won't exactly tell your 3-year-old.
Yeah, my 3-year-old is.
You can't just leave them to entertain themselves. You might come back to a disaster in the house.
Yeah.
So, what you can do, I know, little kids, they love to get involved in the housework and to help mom and dad with things. So, if they come to you and they are bored, they need more attention than older kids. So give them that. Show them with you. I'm here. Let's quickly wash the floors. Make it into a game. Play with them. Say, oh, let's wash the windows. Let's quickly do this. try and work in some of the chores you already need to do and do it with your child. Same with cooking. Ask them to pass you the onion, or, you know, ask them, do you want diced onion or block onion tonight, or strips? Involve them in any type of way. And then when you see, okay, they're settling down, then, you know, let them do their little drawings or the usual activities that they would do to keep themselves busy. Then that can be your slot to quickly get back to the work that you need to do as well.
You know what I've found, I don't know if it's just me, is usually that when I give him his time, if I sort of focus on him, whether it's 30 minutes or an hour, and he wants to engage with me and I just focus on him, the more I do that, the longer he does things on his own, or the longer he just, so I don't know if there's a science to it, but this is what I found. Like, I just have to commit to leave the email or leave that conversation, no matter if people are like, we need your answers now, and focus on him, because then he's like, oh, okay, then he kind of does his own thing. Is that just me, or is that?
No, absolutely. It's because children, they just want to be heard, especially, let's say you've got that jar. You've come up with the activities, but now they still come to you. You know, so mom, I'm bored. Instead of just saying, you're on your laptop, okay, go to the jar. You're not looking at them, you're just directing them. They might still come back again and again. They need that validation. They just need you, just look at me. So it might still require you to just put down what you're doing, even if it is for 5 minutes. Meet your child at eye level, look at them, make sure they see, mom hears me, mom sees me, and I know what to do now. We came up with a solution together, and that's to go look at an activity, or if it's the little one, you know, as I said earlier, include them in something, or whatever the case.
And in terms of activities, because I think we're all kind of grasping at them, I felt like we kind of loaded, and maybe that's not necessarily the way to go about it, trying to have enough kind of things in your pocket so you can say, here's a shiny thing, and it buys you sort of like 10 minutes, or sometimes it doesn't. What's your take on that? Can you do anything with anything you've got in the house? Can we talk a little bit more about the activities to keep your kids engaged, either with you or on their own? Yeah. And, you know, if it works for whichever age, because we haven't even talked about teenagers. So I'm not sure if sort of the jar will work for 15 to 18-year-old who's sort of on their screen all the time.
So I should have actually brought it with me now. I'm looking at my little jar. My husband and I even put together an activity jar that even we are becoming so bored with the same thing every day. You know, we said, let's make a little activity thing so that we can pick, okay, tonight's a board game night. Tonight's we're watching a movie. So it really can work with any age. You just put in the activities that will attract their attention. So the most important thing is, when working on these activities, involve the kids. Ask them, what would you like? Or when you're Googling something perhaps, or thinking of ideas, let them come in on it. Let them also choice, because then they'll be more likely to actually do that task that they pick. And in terms of types of activities to do, I see parents are sharing so many things that they are busy finding. There's so many creative things to do out there, and I've seen from all ages different activities available. So it's really a case of knowing your child, knowing their interest, and then sitting together with them and deciding a way forward. But planning is essential in this area.
And what is it about routine in general? Is it just, it gives them a roadmap? What is it that calms people down when it comes to routines? Oh, calms kids.
To routine, you say?
Yes.
So routine gives children that structure. It anchors them in something that they know, that they are familiar with. And especially now during lockdown, everything's topsy-turvy. Everything's different now. You know, the whole world as they knew it has completely changed. So that routine will give them something to hold on to. Okay, well, this is the structure. This I know. This I'm familiar with. So there will be less anxiety as well when there is routine in place. Okay. So Yeah.
I hear you. And in terms of, does this apply, like I was saying, to every age group? I think in the age that we're living in of social media, I speak to my nieces who are with my sister, and I can kind of see them on the screen. I'm saying, have you read a book today? And it's almost like I'm preaching to them the entire time. But how do you get them to, for the parents who are struggling to just get their kids off the screen? And it's almost easier to say, oh my God, just for peace and quiet, if they're doing this, then I'm just going to let them be. I think it's a little bit easier with a toddler than it is. But I know with my toddler that once they're stuck on a screen, it's very hard to get them out of that.
Yeah. No, of course. And it's inevitable that we're going to be using screens even more often than what we usually do. So, the most important thing is to also monitor the child's relationship with the technology. Are you using the technology because you're bored and you quickly, the child just needs to keep busy, or are they using it for something more productive, like schoolwork? I mean, everything's online now, so they're going to have a lot more screen time. But in that time, it's productive. I'm doing schoolwork. So when it comes to trying to get them off of the TV games and the screens and all of that, the most important thing is to also remind them why. To not just say, because I said so, but to say that, you know what, your brain is a muscle and you need to exercise that muscle. Otherwise, it's going to become like jelly, and give them a picture. Say, when you're leaning on your arm and it goes numb, or your leg goes numb, and as soon as you stand up, it gives in. Give them a picture to say, well, that's what happens when you're not using your brain and you're just behind a screen and you're just playing the games all day. It's like this brain dead stuff. Then your brain gets lazy. So give them a picture as to why I need to spend less time on technology and on the screen just to help me with my boredom.
And does it work? Is it effective with kids who are over the age, like who are 12 and 13, who already have like quite an attachment to screens and TV and all of that?
Look, as I've seen with my clients, before the age of 12, it is so much easier to bring this in, to bring the preventative measures in. But because once they're older, it is still possible. It just takes a little bit longer. That's all. Just going to take time and practice and strict rules, sticking to the rules and the boundaries. Not letting them see you giving them the whole time, because they will ride on that. So what I love doing is also bringing in the 7 key ingredients for a healthy life, for positive mental well-being. And
can you explain that a little bit? You said you explained it to me, Monica.
So when I explain to the kids, I say, we need the 7 key ingredients in our life to make sure we can operate the best way that we can. We can be our best selves. We can make good choices. It's sort of like these ingredients is the fuel and the maintenance for our body, so that we can drive and steer ourselves the right way and where we need to go. So what a nice thing to do is when you're sitting with a routine, and you can also then sit with, we've got a lovely poster of 7 key ingredients that I'm happy to share with you and all the parents. Sorry. You will then sit with the 7 key ingredients and your routine and say, right, how can I bring all of this into my daily life? But you'll be sitting with your child while doing this. So say, right, ingredient number 1, eating patterns. We need to nourish our bodies, make healthy food choices. So when it's breakfast time, lunch time, and dinner time, we're going to choose healthy foods and healthy snacks as best we can, with some water. So number 1 ticked off the list. Number 2 is sleeping patterns. Did we get a good night's rest? Again, make sure your child's still going to bed normal time. I know a lot of children are now going to bed at midnight, waking up at something like 10 o'clock. And that's going to make it so much easier to just fall into a lazy day. I don't feel like doing work, and it's difficult to get that momentum going. So make sure they get a good night's rest and get the hours that they need. So number 2, ticked off. Then you sit with them and ask, right, number 3 is physical activity. how are we going to make sure that we are exercising our bodies and staying active? If you have the luxury of being able to go outside in your garden, then you say, right, this time in the routine, that's when you're going to practice physical activity, go kick a ball, go do jumping jacks, whatever it is. Or if you are indoors, there's many sites, yoga for kids, exercise for kids, fun sites to look at. And those who don't have data, that's even more fun. I would actually say, come up with your own obstacle course within the house, make up your own exercise plan, so also spark a bit of that creativity while doing physical activity.
And this is a conversation you can have with the toddler. Does it go across the range?
Absolutely, because you'll be speaking at their level, at their age, your child best as parents. So you'll speak to them at a level that they understand. So I just wanted to add in with ingredient number 4, positive leisure time. So that's time to relax. I really would suggest that one puts this in more towards the end of the day. So that is when they can then bring in the technology time, the games or something, because they must also treat it like they just got back from school. They put their back down and, it's been a long day. They just want to chill and do whatever they want just to, switch their brains off from the hectic day. So keep it exactly the same now. At the end of the day, once you've done all your tasks that you needed to do, go play your TV games for a little bit. Go draw. Go do whatever it is you like to do. And education is the 5th ingredient. That's obviously your working time, the school work. And then communication and support, the last 2. Those 2 go often hand in hand. And that you can say, right, after dinner or before dinner, however it works for you, that's our family time. That's we're going to be there to have one-on-one time with you that you need, support each other, ask questions, things like that. So you can work in the technology time with the routine and be strict with that. Stick to it.
Okay, and engaging them essentially on that, on all of that.
Absolutely.
So I think there's another, underlying things around kids and parenting that will show itself a little bit later, because I think right now with COVID-19 and the impact and the lockdown, we're dealing a lot with the physical stuff, like the activities and the schools, and you can, that's what we're dealing with. But there's also underlying stuff. I mean, I can think for myself, and I think everyone who's older now remembers a time where there's even not something to this huge impact, where there's tension in the house or there's issues in the house and you're a toddler, but you don't really have a sense of what it's about, but that that something is going on. Before I ask you this question, I just want to say to people who've joined, I'm Jim Diokolo, and editor-in-chief at CapeTownMagazine.com, and you'll see we've pinned a comment there. We're talking to parents and ideally your kids, if they fit into this mold, and we're talking parenting hacks to survive lockdown, because the struggle is real, like I said. I'd like you to ask your questions. Like I said to Monique and the people who are listening now, was that we'd ask people on Facebook, so we want to make sure that the questions you have can be answered. And Uno is online, and she will be sending questions on Slack. And yeah, she's just asking me that somebody's asking about getting them off the screen, which we just handled now. So if you've got questions, put them on the comments. Uno will get them, send them to me on Slack, because it's very hard to kind of trace and have this conversation with Monique. But Monique, I was asking you about anxiety and stress and financial stress and all the other underlying things that are going on that as a parent to a toddler, you don't know what to pick up on. So it's stuff that's been in my mind around my own stress. And if your child is picking up on that, what does that look like? I don't know. What does that look like for a child? And what are some tips and ideas? Do you talk to your kids about money? Do you talk to your kids about the stresses? How do you deal with that?
So, yeah, we are faced with a lot of uncertainty right now. There's salary cuts, there's retrenchments, it's hectic stuff going on right now. And us adults, we're feeling the stress. And kids are watching. They are watching all the time. And they know something's up because they hear how we speak about the news, how we speak about this whole pandemic. They see our body language. So it's very important to watch how we're speaking about these things. How are you carrying across that worry over to your child? Because especially the young ones, they're going to see something's up, but I don't know. I'm starting to feel stressed out now. I don't know what's up. And that worry will start surfacing in other areas in their life. So they might act out a little bit more, throw tantrums, be more needy, seeking attention because they're looking for that security. So yeah, when it comes to anxiety and speaking to the kids about all of this, you know, you don't be afraid of explaining to the kids what is going on at the moment. Don't try to steer away or stop talking when they enter the room or anything like that. If they've got their questions or that you can see they're unsure, answer their questions at an age-appropriate level, the way that they'll understand, and also just what they're asking. Don't give them more than they asked for. Don't color the whole story in with your worries and your emotions to it, all of that. Stick to the basics and steer the conversation to solutions. So you might, I saw a lot of comments saying that, you know, there's no data, no pay at the end of the month. They, you know, struggle also to Google things like that. So kids might ask, but why? Why can't I be on the internet longer? Or why just 5 minutes? You know, like there's a lot of pushback. You can explain to them very basically at their age level what is going on. So because of that, we need to be more conscious about how we spend our money, how we save, and then say, hey, do you maybe have a solution? How do you think we can save as a family? Then steer from the stress and anxiety and then bring the focus onto solutions. Then keep it positive and say, oh, what if we put like R1 away every week, whatever, anything simple. And we can save. And then at the end of the month, we can maybe get a little bit more data or a little bit of this, a little bit of that. But explain it to them in a way that they'll understand. They need to know sort of what's going on so that they don't drive you crazy, begging you, I want more, buy me this, buy me that. You know, so set those boundaries as well.
I'm just wondering what level of state of mind you yourself as a parent have to be in to have these coherent conversations with your child, because I'm not saying this of all parents, but you know, we also have our little child brain sometimes, and you're not always reacting in the best way. You're not always talking solutions. What I think maybe for a parent, what do you need to do for yourself, maybe to just get into that space to engage with your child in that manner? It's for some people, it's a huge ask, you know, because all they're seeing and all they're feeling is the burden of what they're going through.
Yeah, 100%. So we, in the very first session actually that I have with clients, I immediately tackle the brain and I explain what happens when we have negative thoughts, when we have anxiety, when we have stress. Your brain will release the negative hormones, the negative chemicals, and so our palms become sweaty. We tense up, and you can just feel things aren't great. So now we're going to make bad choices. We might lash out. We're not going to speak calmly, because what happens is that the amygdala, which is a part of the brain that drives the emotion, that sort of hijacks or takes over your prefrontal cortex, where you do all your reasoning and processing and, you know, all your thoughts. That's where that is. So that completely takes over, and that's why you can't think and you can't be calm in that moment. So before you tackle any conversations like this, you need to make sure that you are calm, you're in your own safe space, because your child will also feed off of this energy. So yeah, these are tips that you can actually give your child and use as adults ourselves. So there's a couple of tricks and tips to use to keep calm. First one, simple idea of breathing. Just breathe. Long, deep breaths. And when you can actually explain this to your kids, that when we breathe in, we're breathing oxygen, and it sort of clears the brain completely. It's as if the brain's looking through this foggy window, and this fresh air just sort of wipes it all away. And the brain's like, I can think clearly. I can tackle this now. I can see.
Mm.
So give them that picture of what breathing actually does.
Mm.
Another way is to ground yourself. Focus on what you can control now, what is real now, because
Mm.
it makes no sense to worry about the future.
Mm.
Making no sense. We don't know what's going to happen. So you can use your hand for that. You can say, right, let's focus on the senses. What can I see, taste, touch, hear, smell?
Mm.
I can feel the chair beneath me. I can see mom there. I can smell the lunch or dinner being cooked. Whatever it is, bring your thoughts and your focus to where you are now.
Mm.
Um,
Okay.
so yeah, there's lots. And another fun way for the little ones is to, by practicing the breathing, is to actually blow bubbles.
Mm.
Encourage parents to do this with them. I know
Mm.
it might be a funny idea, but I promise you're going to have so much fun doing it. I've done it with adults before, and they love it.
Mm.
So,
A friend of mine,
yeah.
I think, is starting a laughing, because we often, when he's, not, I don't want to say acting out when our toddler, my husband often tries to breathe with him. And that's, which he seems to be more successful at it than I am. That doesn't seem to work, but I can imagine the blowing the bubbles is a fun thing to do with him. I've got a question here, and I think this is a key question. One of the followers who's listening is asking about co-parenting and how you solidify structure and routine when you're co-parenting. I guess in this instance, you're co-parenting through the phone as well, and all sorts of things. It's another very interesting dynamic.
Yeah, very, very interesting. So again, I'm going to say that word, routine. It is so important. And they can go have a look on my blog. I've just posted an article about keeping routine between the two homes. So it's very important. This is where communication comes in as well, between the two parents. And
Yes.
when chatting about things, if I don't know, if you don't have a good relationship with your ex, see it as a business meeting. It's a business meeting. The topic is the kids. If you didn't bring anything else to the agenda, we're not speaking about it. There's no negative things on the agenda. Treat it like that. But also make sure that the routine sort of stays the same between the two homes, because the kids might also say, oh, but by mom's house, I can do this. Or by dad's house. They play the two up against each other.
Especially now, because I think the rules have been relaxed that kids can kind of move from home to home. So that can be confusing from kids. But somebody listening from Sudan and somebody saying blowing bubbles is a good idea, I also think so. I think that's a great idea. I just wanted to also find out as another question here, but for myself, what does, I'm sure there's a much more positive way of saying this, but obviously I'm just a parent. What does, I don't want to say punishment, look like? So we often take our toddler, and if it's acting out, we put him on a chair. My husband is a little bit more consistent, but I'm a bit of a sissy about it. So I'm like, oh my God, he's going through such a hard time. He's not a crash. So let's not put him on the chair. Does that change? Do you need to be a little bit less? I feel like I'm now, aggravating the situation by punishing him, or maybe he might be acting out, or it's a cry for help. How do you pick up on those clues?
Yeah, I think, any sign, any bad behavior is a sign of an unmet need. All right. So if they are acting out a little bit and something requires punishment, they are looking for something. They either want to be heard, or, somewhere, somehow there's a need that they are looking to fulfill. So when they are acting out and behaving badly, speak to them, see what that need is, let them communicate it. A nice way, we use a sandwich technique. So say, I feel, give it a filling because this happened, give a solution, can we please do this? So you can sort of sandwich it, let them communicate what that need is. But at the end of the day, they were naughty. And if there are rules that if you do this, then this happens, you need to stick to that. Even during, don't let the kids take advantage of that or but I know they are going through a difficult time. 100%. They're probably feeling it just as much as what we are, but they don't know how to handle it. They need these tools. So a nice way is just really let them feel the consequences as well.
Yeah.
You know, I remember I used to complain about the lunch that I got. And I think I was grade 2 or something. And I complained, I'm so tired of peanut butter sandwiches. And my mom was like, oh, well, make it yourself. You know, and I thought, oh, sure. Okay. Then, you know, then I quickly sorted myself out, and I was able to make my lunch from an early age. Just let the child also feel the consequence now and then. If they're too much on the TV, take the games away for a bit and say, look, in our routine, tea days are game days. So if it's Tuesday, that's when you can get your games back. You know, so let them feel the consequences as well in certain situations.
Okay, there's a question here from somebody called Taken Prince, and he's asking, she says, my kids are overwhelmed at having to do homework without the teachers. You see that a lot also on social media. I think parents are like, I'm ready for these kids never to go to university because this is a heck of a job.
Yeah, it is difficult. That, you know, that was the child security at school. They knew that was their support. That's who they can turn to. Mom and dad's not there at school, so that's who they turn to. And you know, when I look at parents, I see them. They've already got all these different hats that parents wear. You're the teacher, you're the this, you're the that. And I see them sort of like a Superman. As soon as they rip it out, you're the hero. But then parents have got more layers. You're the teacher, you're the chef, you're the doctor, you're the fireman. You know, so you've got to put on the different outfits at different times. So there's a time and place to be their teacher, help them and support them and show, listen, look, this is part of the ingredients, the 7 key ingredients. I'll be your support right now. I'm helping you, spending time with you. You've got me. We've got this. But then there's also a time to take off all those outfits and just be a learner with them. Be a kid. Wow, this is a little bit tricky. You know, let's work with this together. Acknowledge that this is stressful. This is difficult. Don't block any of it away. I'm here with you. I've got you. Just reassure them that they've got that communication and support as they.
Sonia's asking how to let them know that we as parents are working from home. I think she or he might have joined just now. And I think what Monique is suggesting is that you build a routine, you have the conversations with them that are appropriate for them at that age so that they are active participants in building this routine, and kind of so that they can respect that time and they know exactly what's happening in the home. So I think that's answered. There's a question about resources. Are there any resources? I think you mentioned those to me that you have yourself for parents to use, you know, besides screen time and home chores and anything we can do together which parents and kids will enjoy. I think you've mentioned some of those. Obviously people are coming in as it continues, but keep asking your questions. But I know you yourself and the organization have resources.
Yes, we've got wonderful resources for parents. Starting off, I've got this, I don't know if you can see there, lovely poster that you can also go and print out. That's the 7 key ingredients. We've got a screen time checklist. So
sorry, do you print it out? Do you buy it? How do you get
I will share this free, no charge. Share this with you on our platform. This is what we share with all our clients.
Okay.
So yes, parents can get that for free and print it out as a nice reminder and to help them with it. Another resource is recently launched was the Play Well, Live Well board game. This board game centers around mental resilience, emotional intelligence, communication, conflict resolution, all of that in one. So it's fun for all. The whole family can play the game together. And you're learning important life skills at the same time. So that's a nice activity to add in while learning all of these things and building that resilience during this time. And we've also got our Facebook page, our global parent support group. So all of our Kids Life Studio coaches from around the world, they are standing ready on this Facebook page to answer any questions from parents. It's called the Discovering Your Child's Inner Leader Through Kids Life Coaching. Bit of a long, but I will provide everything to you. So that's also a wonderful platform for parents to hop on board, and we are there offering our support.
Well, that's amazing because we find all the time we've got readers, we've got an international reader base, so we've got a lot of people from the US, from the UK. I'm seeing people who are commenting here, and if you can tell us where you're from, please do so. From Brazil, I saw a few other people from a host of other places. So maybe do you want to talk about some of the countries you're in? When you say global, what do you mean mostly?
Yes, so okay, now I must think nicely. So we have got right, Swaziland, Switzerland, we've got in the USA, Texas, Pennsylvania, I think Australia, if I'm not mistaken, India, I think. I'm trying to remember, but basically every continent, we've got a Kids Life Studio coach somewhere available.
Okay. And I'm interested in this myself. I want to talk about resilience, just resilience, because I think that's such a huge thing, because it's not just about the parenting hacks to survive it now. It's also about what they gather now, what they learn now. This is my own personal thing, and this is an opportunity in a lot of ways, whether it's in business or it's with parenting, to not right the wrongs, but research certain things and teach new lessons. And it feels like an opportunity that you as a parent could do things in another way, or you could, change things with it, because you've got the basis for that conversations and involving your child in a much bigger and broader world event. Yeah, and I'm not sure what my question is, but there's opportunity. I mean, I think parents need to think about what the effect of these are as the months continue. And what would you say as a kids coach, what's the effect for kids in the long term, and what should we be looking out for and thinking about?
Definitely their mental well-being. So again, that's where the 7 key ingredients come in place, to make sure that as adults, I make sure that I'm implementing those ingredients, and the kids, that we take care of the different parts of our lives, our physical well-being, socials, reaching out for support. I don't know if I mentioned exercise, healthy eating. We need to make sure that we're still bringing in all of these things so that our mental well-being is in check, so that we can have resilience, we can make good choices, we've got the skills and the know-how. So, and that also takes practice on working on the mindset. So we coach children to understand that there's an outside world where they have absolutely no control on what goes on in this outside world, but where they do have control is their inside world, with their thoughts and their feelings. Focusing on that can help them sort of be like a thought detective. So when you have negative thoughts that causing that anxiety or stress, you can say, you know what, how real is this? What are the facts in it? Am I worrying about the future? Is it now? Let's have a look at this. And that takes practice, to constantly try focus on the positive, bring it back to, well, you know what, I'm going to keep moving forward. And I must just add, it's not also just about, I have a negative thought, but you know what, I'm going to be positive and it's going so bad. But
yeah,
hey,
I think that's important to say, especially at these very tough times. Yeah.
Absolutely. We've got to be realistic. So we can say, you know what, yes, it's tough right now. It is difficult. I am worried. I am scared. Acknowledge those things, so we give it actually less power, so it doesn't sit here bothering us and building. Acknowledge it, but as soon as we move it out the way, those are the tips and the techniques and the tools that we use to move forward, like keeping calm, focusing on the now, breathing, getting rid of our negative thoughts, sticking to a routine, implementing 7 key ingredients, all of that.
And before we go, if anybody else has any other question, put it down so that we had scheduled this to be between 30 and an hour. We're at the 45-minute mark. If you've got any other questions, please do ask them. A lot of people are telling us from where they're from, which is fantastic. If you've got it specific to your own country, please do ask, because This is a global organization, but are there any? I don't know if I'm simplifying. Are there any easy do's and don'ts for parents in this time while they are parenting under lockdown? Are there any easy do's and don'ts, like a routine is a do, or are there any other ones that are easy for them to just kind of have pegs for themselves?
Okay, so yeah, if I could give some basic take homes, is number one, have a family or personal based routine. So everyone knows what to expect when, everyone knows the boundaries, we know when to be creative, when to be bored, when whatever the case is. Have that routine in place. Second one is to plan activities ahead of time. So use a day in the week, even if you say, you know what, the rest of Sunday is no technology Sunday. We're going to think of activities to keep us busy in the week. We're going to build a fort, have fun. You can also link the routine to a weekly reward. So you can say, all right, how did you do in your routine? Let the child actually go and say, yes, I exercised. Yes, I did my work. Yes, I did this. And they get stars or little ticks. And at the end of the week, you say, all right, looks like it was a good week. You know what? Now let's have a Christmas bed and a family fort and everyone sleeps in the lounge. Next week, something else, but plan those activities ahead. Let them have something to look forward to. Thirdly, I'd breathe. I'd say breathe, 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 ground yourself, stay calm, practice, practice, practice. It's not going to happen just overnight that we will be able to control our emotions and all of that. I often tell my young clients, why do you know a song so well? It's because you sing it again and again. I mean, I don't think there's one here who doesn't know Baby Shark, even though it's with our kids. So that's exactly the same thing. Yeah, it takes practice and just, doing it again and again to know how to stay calm. And then reach out for support is a big do. You're not alone. All parents are going through the same things as we've seen with us very often. A lot of frequent questions asked. So reach out for that support. Don't be afraid to say, you know what, help, or I'm going through this. Anyone else, anyone with an idea? Support is a very big ingredient from the 7 key ingredients that you should make sure that you are using.
Okay, I think those are really, really helpful, Monique. I had a question that I lost, so I'm just going to scroll through to just see. There's Peter Peel who says he's introduced no screen rule after 7 p.m. During the week, and then he says, "Guess where I am?" He's on the screen. So sorry about that, but I think this is useful.
This is a productive time.
This is a productive, yeah. This is something, if it was happening regularly, you could put in your routine. And wondering, I mean, we decided on 8 p.m. because we thought the kids would be asleep. I'm sure not all of them are asleep, but mine is. So I needed to be in this conversation. Lots of thumbs up and lots of people sharing from where they're from South Africa, from Cape Town, from Holland. I would say thanks, Monique. Is there anything else that you would like to add? I feel like my own, it's not about me. My own personal questions have been answered. And I'm getting a lot of insight from you. Where's my face? In terms of what to do, in terms of what's useful and the do's and don'ts, which is essentially what we wanted to do. But is there anything else you want to add that's useful that you think would be useful for people?
My big thing is that we are here for support. We're here for you. We know it's a tough time. So for all parents around there, go and look on the Kids Life Studio website, go and find a coach and find a coach in your area.
Yeah.
See nearby, reach out to that coach that will also understand your local situation. They'll understand what's going on there. So they'll really be able to help you. So like I said, we've also got the individual program, we've got family programs, and we're doing this all online. So reach out for that help. We are there. And yes, I really do hope that all of these tips and tools and everything we discussed tonight I know it will be of great value. But be patient and relax. We're all going through the same thing. And you're all superheroes, all parents out there. Absolute superheroes.
I'll take that for myself. just mention your handles for on Instagram and mention yours and Kids Life Studio handles. And I think the resources you were talking about, I'm just thinking now, you said you could share the chart over email. I don't know, maybe you can DM it to people that are asking for it. So maybe the most useful way is to share your handle.
All right. So what I would say is for parents to go and look or follow on Facebook, Discovering Your Child's Inner Leader through Kids Life Coaching. And my own one is Kids Life Coach, Play Well, Live Well. There I will share the posters and as well as the global group. I will share everything. So if they do hop onto my page, I will share all those resources as well. I'll put it in PDF form so it's nice and easy to download and print. And I'll give the link to the board game where they also get a lovely discount voucher at the moment. So I'll give that as well. I'll make sure that I post everything there. So yeah, that's Kids Life Coach, Play Well, Live Well on Facebook. And I'll direct them to the other pages.
Thank you so much, Monique. It was very helpful. It's 9 p.m. It's my bedtime because I'm trying to factor in those, healthy habits. Or maybe I'll be on my screen for an hour. We'll see. I won't tell anyone.
Practice your 7 ingredients.
Practicing my 7 ingredients. Thank you so much. I appreciate it. We're going to sign off, and thank you for everybody who's joined and asked questions and all of that.
Yeah. Thank you so much. It was lovely being with you tonight.
Cool. Bye.
Thanks. Bye.